Hello, toy collectors. So just the other day, I showed me modding this thing with the alloy wheel kits by this BNDS brand, putting on the 15-inch alloys, and I think it worked out pretty well. So it got me to researching a little bit more. If you look at my subscriptions, there's a channel called Scale Enthusiasm, and he had a whole series of displaying his collection. He has a fine collection as well. You might want to check out his reviews. And in the corner of one of his booths, he had these things called Choro-Qs. And so I looked it up, and I'm here to introduce you guys to it today. So Choro-Q started back in 1978. So it was made by a company, I forget the original company, but nowadays it's branded as a Takara, or made by the Takara company. And Takara merged with Tomy, so it's called Takara Tomy. So you may have heard of Tomy Tech, hence the Tomica Limited Vintage models, or Tomica line of premiums, or the regular ones. So it's the same parent company or the same organization. So it wasn't Hot Wheels that created these tuned cars. It was these guys that created it, I think, for the very first time back around 40 plus years ago. So these things are 3 to 4 centimeter long vehicles, and they're called deformed scale, where basically they're foreshortening the length of the vehicle, and so that's what gives it such a cartoonish look. But it's not as easy as just shrinking down the length of a vehicle in the CAD program, because you have to keep the wheel wells circular. So it's actually designed specifically to look this way. It's not taking a real car and modding the file. It's literally taking the images of a real car, but you still have to design this from scratch in a CAD program. So I thought that was interesting. So Choro means, well, Choro means dash around in Japan. And I guess they chose that name because these are spring pullback cars. So in the bottom of these things, this is a clear base one, there's a spring motor, and you can, well, I'm going the wrong way. When you pull the car back, it winds up a spring, and then the car shoots forward. These were actually branded as a penny racers, I think, in the West. I do recall, I think I had these when I was a kid, around like 40 years ago. But, as a kid, they probably just ended up in the parents' backyard or the trash barrel. So you'll notice here it says 80 whatever 03. So I wouldn't doubt that this model is actually from 2003, because I've seen some other people where they lowered them and they have two screw studs, and they just shave them down in order to reduce the ride height. But this one only has one screw. So yeah, you know what, let's open this guy up and take a look. Why not? What I want to talk about is the motors, or I want to try to mod these things. Or you know what, before I get into that, let's look at these things. So at some point in time they released these Countachs. And look at this, a 300 SL with gull-wing doors. I'm going to have to get both of those for sure. But that's just normal Takara stock vehicles. Now we get into some customs, like these things in the back. I don't know what car that is, but it looks like there's like some putty, for the over-fender kit. And then this blue car might be like a Datsun pickup, and it's just got those crazy cool wheels. So I think that looks awesome. So apparently there was a company called Fine Work, and they made they made resin model kits. So these are some of their resin model kits, but some skilled person apparently painted them and stuff. I found a resin kit of this on eBay, because this is now my dream car in this whatever deformed scale, because I used to have a Mini Cooper, and this is the one that won the Monte Carlo Rally. So it's a really cool race car. Unfortunately, that eBay listing, the kit alone is 80 British pounds. So I'm not going to buy that. If it was painted, if it looked exactly like that photograph, I would definitely buy it. But 80 pounds for a model kit, and then I have to spend 10 or 20 hours making it look like that photograph, I'm going to pass for now. But you never know about the future. You never know. I buy a lot of stupid things, right? Alright, so let's get back to this. You know what, this thing's gonna mess with the focus, so I'm gonna pull this aside here. So I took out the screw. Looks like there's a tab here. I gotta push it backwards, alright. Whoa, so check this out. This is blue, obviously, but it, so the windshield, right, see-through. This whole thing is one piece of plastic, I think, right? They literally just molded the whole body in blue, but then painted the brown interior in the white body. I thought it was going to be like, you know, a plastic body, opaque, and then a separate window piece, just like every other diecast car out there. But no, this is amazing paint. I mean, to paint a piece of clear plastic opaque, you know, that's hard to do, because if you'll know that if you buy a green light model. Green light, very often in the back of their trucks and stuff, those are clear plastic, but the color never quite matches the rest of the diecast body because they're trying to paint a clear piece of plastic. But this thing was very convincing, right? Same with the other two. I mean, this is white, right? So there must be a lot of white paint on this thing to cover up this clear. I can understand the metallic one, you know, being better, but anyways, this is nice here. You know, it tells you what the car is, and then there's the numbering scheme of whatever, however that works. And this is the giant license plate because this is meant to put in a penny or some sort of coin, and so when you wind it back, the weight of the coin will cause the thing to do a wheelie. I did actually, you know, take this and I put it on my floor without a coin, and this thing took off so fast that I thought it was going to break the model or at least scratch the paint, so I would recommend you don't do that unless you don't care about the model. There's a guy on YouTube, he actually checks the speed of these things, and I saw one where it went 3 meters per second to give you an idea about the speed. And you really don't even need to wind it much for it to start moving. So I'm going to move it like an inch, or like 25 millimeters. Right? That thing took off, and it's still going, so pretty impressive. Alright, well, anyways, let's talk about wheel swaps, you know, because when I see that photo again, I want these things to look like that. I mean, these are kind of cool, but I think the wheels are, you know, just raw plastic like a Hot Wheels. I guess I could just paint them. It does look like the wheels are the same size, and then these are rubbery tires. Yeah, so I'm going to take one side off. Alright, so yeah, those are rubbery tires. So if this is a 20-year-old model, the rubber still hasn't hardened. You know, it's some sort of synthetic rubber, so that's good to know for longevity. Alright, now let's talk about some wheels here. So the Hot Wheels one I just did the other day has these BNDSs, but they're supposed to be 15 inches at 164. And I just think that aluminum is too small. I don't think you could put this tire. Let me take this tire off and see if I can put the other tire on it. Sorry, taking so long. No, it's way too. So, BNDS 15 inch, not gonna work. Alright, we know that answer then. Now, I do have a BNDS plastic one, or two of them actually. So, just to let you know, BNDS alloys come in these nice plastic boxes. These BNDS plastic ones are just cardboard boxes. And there's two sizes. The normal one just has a number, and then there's a number with an S for a smaller diameter. So, because this thing is staggered, I thought maybe it'd be interesting. So, I think this is a bigger diameter wheel. Let's take this off here. Check that out. So that could work. Right? So that was the larger wheel, I think, but I'm going to try the smaller one anyways and see if it's doable, because, you know, the rubber tire can flex, so maybe it can go around a couple different size wheels. although this little one does fit, it's very loose. So you'd probably have to glue this one for it to work, I just wouldn't recommend the BNDS S small size. But the regular size seems to be okay. The problem with these regular ones is there's no brake system. So you have these giant spoke openings, but no brakes. So that's one of the shortcomings of these, the plastic ones. So that's too bad. But anyways, we have some potential there. I know that brand makes brake systems, but you have to buy them separate. They're smart about making money apparently, but not good for us. Alright, so let's think about maybe some Hot Wheels swaps. Here's the regular wheel that came off of that manga tuner, this thing. So this is the regular small diameter Hot Wheels. It's too small. So you could probably do it, but it's gonna create a giant wheel gap, right? So I don't think it would look cool, unless you lowered the body somehow. But I pulled these off of a Hot Wheels Premium. I think this was the Fast and Furious Chevelle or Torino, maybe, with the staggered tires. Now this is much closer. This would work. It's a little bit smaller in diameter, a little wider as well. Maybe it is the same diameter. So the front looks good. The rear is close also. But yeah, you can see here it's shorter, it's not as tall of a tire. But you're halving that distance, so actually it's only probably like a millimeter increase in the wheel gap itself with the bodywork, so that could work. The only issue is you'd have to get one of those, axle ends to keep the thing from falling off, and you're gonna definitely sacrifice, the motor. Alright, so anyways, that's good for Hot Wheels Premium people if you have some of those wheels laying around. I have this brand, CM model. So in that box we had a staggered set of wheels I've shown before, but they wouldn't fit anything I had. So let's see how these look. The front I think is pretty good. And what I like about this CM model is it actually has brakes, so it actually looks pretty neat, right? So that's good. What about the back? Ooh, see, that's way too small. Let's put them next to each other here. That would be look at that. I mean, even at half the distance, that's got to be like 3-4 millimeters, increase in the wheel gap. So that is no go for now. Green light, but they don't have staggered rears, so, and then they have these innos. Oh, but maybe the wheel part could work. Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure the Inno 64 wheels would work. So that's a possibility there. Let's take a look at this motor. It looks like you can take it out, right? There's just a tab here and a tab there. So I imagine being a spring motor, they actually have hop-up motors, or, they're nice enough to let you change it out. If you're a kid and use it every day, that spring would eventually die. But I want to do this because I want to try putting this in here anyways, and let's see what it looks like. So this is the rear one. This is the front, but I gotta get the brake calipers in there. Okay, try to get this body on without. So at stock ride height, it definitely looks goofy, right? Also the fact that there's no vertical wall behind the wheel just looks silly. But what if it can be lowered? That's what I'm wondering now. Sorry, just getting this plate here. Well, no, I mean, that's such a massive front rear wheel gap. The height isn't so bad, but I mean that just looks weird, right? Yeah, so that CM is not going to work. Alright. Curious about that Hot Wheels one. I think the Hot Wheels is better. It's doable. I just don't really like those exposed axles unless the wheel is all chrome. But yeah, I know a lot of you guys probably collect Hot Wheels, so I just wanted to throw it out there. I think if you don't mind the exposed axles, it's not so bad. Yeah, alright. Okay, well, now naturally, if you do swap out the wheels, well, it looks like it's a thick axle. This is definitely thicker than a Hot Wheels axle. So let me compare here. This is one of those Word C wheel axles, which is meant for Hot Wheels, and you can clearly see that it's you know, a different diameter. So you're gonna probably have to drill out the hole on a Hot Wheels wheel. The holes on some of the other 164s though might be doable. Like here's a different CM model one. Now I do feel that even that. Well, you know, that might be close. So it is possible I could put that on there. What about those BNDSs? Oh, I don't know. Now. The problem with the BNDS is if you drill it out, you're not going to have much plastic to actually capture the axle itself. So, yeah, look at that. That's really, well, I guess if it's just a display model, you know, something you don't actually intend to rev with the motor, it might be okay. Or you'd have to maybe super glue the backside, add a little material after you drill it out, you know, you put the axle in and then you could add some more plastic or epoxy or something to give it some extra strength. So that's something to consider. Alrighty, and so I'm here with 3 different sets of wheels, 3 different brands of wheels to be a little more specific. So the first one I went with here, these plastic ones are again the BNDS ones here. So those are on the Fairlady here. And I had some extra brake calipers from those CM branded wheels. So I stuck them in there. And I think it works out alright. I also lowered the thing as well. I also shaved off a little bit of the inside, and I have some, sorry for the focus, but I have a washer there, and I shaved off a little plastic there so I could get it the proper width down, and the back also. So I sacrificed the motor, by the way. I actually clipped off the internal part, clipped off the entire axle, and then I'm using the axle that came with the wheel set. So this thing no longer is a pullback toy. It's just a random toy now that looks modified. So that was the plastic wheel set by BNDS there. This Silvia is using these wheels here. Well, not this exact one, but this brand. I bought these, you know, online, but I didn't look for them under this name. I just looked up alloy wheel sets, and then they just came in this package. So I don't know if you're ever going to find them under this brand. But I originally bought these wheels thinking I'd put them on my Aoshima Grachan cars, but they're simply too big to fit those Aoshima Grachan cars. So they're very JDM style, and this is a very JDM looking Silvia. So I think it's the kind of car that Edna here would drive. So that's what's going on there. The very last one, I figured the 510 needs to have some brakes. And so I have these Word C ones with brakes, but I have to warn you guys, these are very poorly designed wheels. if you look in here, you can see an air gap where, well, you know, let's not. Look at the rear wheel here. You can see that giant air gap with the brake rotor way back there. The problem is there's no aluminum coming up to the back of the spokes. So if you see on the front, that happened the same thing. There was an air gap. But I pushed the axle so hard that it bent all the spokes until it stopped out on the brake rotor. So I did that actually on both sides to just make it match. You see, there's actually supposed to be an air gap, just like here. But because they don't have aluminum coming up to the back of the spokes, you'll crush them. So I have to warn you, if you're going to put these sort of wheels on, you really can't put a lot of tension in, otherwise you're just going to bend these really thin spokes. Right? So I learned my lesson on the front set, and I just did it very lightly on the rear set. So it's really strange that they would design them that way. They should have just designed the aluminum to stop where the back of this is and just have a bigger hole inside the brake caliper and then slide that on. But Word C just apparently doesn't care about a quality product. They do look nice, but they're just poorly designed. Alright, so anyways, that's what's going on with that one. And this one, yeah, again, I just sacrificed the motor, and then, you know, I'm using the axles from Word C. So there's a bit of play because they're very thin axles, but I don't mind because when it rests, I think it looks alright. So that is my introduction to the Choro-Q line of cars. I really like them, and so I'm going to continue to get some more. If this sort of thing is your bag, maybe I'll do a tutorial on how to install some of these wheels. You know, show you exactly what I did. But seeing how I've only done 3 of them, I think I still have to do a little more experimentation to really find out a better way, or the best way. Alright guys, well, it's a weird one, but it's all about having fun. That's what this hobby is for me. So hopefully I'll see you guys around. Take care. Bye.